Hi, everybody. Welcome to AOS Up and Coming. We are talking about today's Cities of Sigmar, which were previewed on Warcom today. So exciting stuff. Now, I do want to toss out a quick promo today. Tomorrow, before we jump into Warcom, tomorrow our very own Meg will be on Heroes Brush Hour. Heroes Brush Hour is a show happening over on Twitch. And it's a speed painting where they kind of chat and gab and speed paint. And the show has audience participation where you can kind of jump in and mess with the people who are speed painting by having them do different things. So Meg will be on 7 p.m. Pacific time over on Twitch. Heroes Brush Hour. Check it out. It should be a lot of fun and fun to see Meg getting to go do a be on a different show. Okay, with that, speaking of hosts and fun, let's bring in another fun host, our dear Cire. Here he is.
Hello.
Cire, how's it going? We're gonna chat today, Warcom.
I love Warcom.
Yeah, what we wake up for and gives us purpose in our life. Okay, let's chat. Let's jump in right away. Before we get to Cities of Sigmar, today's big topic, let's chat right away about the Lord Visitator on Griff Stalker.
Yeah, we have to make sure the Stormcast get their equal attention cake
you,
because
you you called this out right before the show started. I was like, oh, I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, they're like, Monday we'll do Cities of Sigmar, but also here's some Stormcast.
yeah, just so you know,
Just so you
they
know.
know that they're loved.
Okay, they kind of talk about his lore here. They talk about they compare him to Death and Nagash, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Mm.
There's this one thing that's a little annoying right off the gate. I'll just say they talk about Gristalkers can drain foes of life and transfer that vitality to the Lord Vigilant, but there's nothing in the War Scroll that shows that. So I
Huh.
maybe there's a lore of the Gristalker spell or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
weird.
Yeah,
That is a weird. Also, how does that work? It's like it's not even like a vampire. It's like they're like a middleman vampire.
it's like a yeah. It's like those phone chargers that you just set your phone on and it charges them.
Uh,
That's what a Griff Stalker is.
that's what a ghost stalker. They're a remote charger.
Okay, so oh, molecule. If it's not in the scroll, it must be a troll. That's pretty amazing, actually. Um,
Oh yeah.
okay, so we get to see his war scroll though, which is cool. He's hitting and wounding on 3. I think we've had that question answered already, like what Stormcast would hit and wound on. I think we're more curious about Chaos Warriors, if anything.
Yeah,
Um,
because we know Stormcast are superhumans.
we can assume 3 and 3. They're Space Marines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've seen the Ruination Chamber ability before. This is when I try to use a non-core ability on you. You ignore it on a 4-up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Quite good.
and now here we're seeing fight twice.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're stealing my chosen's abilities.
It is, and this doesn't cost a command point or anything. This is just a straight fight twice, and it is once per battle, um, so that's cool. And it does, it still has the strike last thing like your chosen have.
Yeah.
So I'm into it. I guess I'm into this guy. I've got to say, since he's not a wizard, since he doesn't do a whole lot. I would say that uh, my initial instincts is that again we at some point we'll stop saying this, but we're looking at things not exactly in a vacuum anymore, but kind of in a
Yeah.
vacuum still. Um,
Yeah. I think maybe what it sounds like you're trying to say is that fight twice ability would be really good on a fighty character. He's not that fighty.
well, he can give it to somebody nearby,
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
but
You wouldn't use it on himself.
he wouldn't use it himself. And I would just say, other than that, he's a little underwhelming. Now, the caveat here is that he might be able to, he's going to be able to get artifacts. He's going to be able to get command traits, which we know command traits can go on anyone other than just your general now. And we don't know how many command traits you're going to get, if there's ways to get more than one command trait. Currently, there's not. So maybe with the right command trait and or artifact, he becomes a little more interesting. But right now, in 3rd edition Sigmar, which he's not in, I mean, I wouldn't pay more than 120 for this guy, honestly. And
120. Okay.
And you know he'd be more than that.
Yeah.
He's got 8 health and a 3-up save. He's going to be, in current Sigmar, this guy would probably be 165, 180.
Yeah. You're definitely buying this guy for the cool model, not for the rules. Which you should be doing anyway.
Which you should be doing anyway. Yeah, he can't use it himself, Connor points out, because it's a non-hero.
Oh, non-hero.
And it does have to be a Ruination Chamber unit. So that's a bunch of, that's a lot of the new units, most of the new units, but yeah, I don't know. I'm like, okay, he seems
it's just like, yeah, fine.
That said, if he's inexpensive in the new edition, I think he's pretty interesting, honestly. But if he's even like what I think he should cost, or he will cost, I'm like, okay, you're gonna be taking old stuff. But like you said, the model's super cool. Kind of hard to not take this.
Yeah, hard not to take it because it's so cool.
Okay, should we move on to
the main course?
The main course, the Men of the Hour, Cities of Sigmar. This is exciting.
Not just men.
Not just men.
Not just men. Everyone who thought they were getting rid of the elves and dwarves, they're not.
They're not yet. That's for sure. This is exciting for us because we have this army. In fact, I just finished about 4 or 5 days ago my first 5 Cavaliers. I'm on to the Marshal now, working on him. He'll be ready. And we've even recently picked up some models for this army, including the guy. The guy we had the Fuseliers, the guy riding the ogre.
Oh yeah.
And we've had the Ironweld Great Cannon for a while, but we haven't done anything with it. But hopefully we will be here shortly. Okay. So let's chat a little bit about Cities of Sigmar, what they are. This is
the Cities of Sigmar?
Yeah, this is an exciting army when it came out because it was really the first time that they were like, what are normal non-chaos humans up to, right? And now we're kind of seeing what normal humans that have not turned to the ruinous powers are up to. And it was an exciting army when it came out. We've run it on stream a few times. I confess, I thought I would really be into playing this army, and I quickly realized I'm not. It's a super cool army. It's a cool play style. It's not exactly my play style. We're slotting it as a Brett army for 4th Ed. It is definitely a Brett play style. What about you, Cire? Is this a Cire play style?
No, it's definitely not.
No.
One of my big complaints is that stuff is not tough enough, and these are not the tough guys. There are ways to buff them up, but they're just not. They're the Imperial Guard. They're the Empire of Warhammer Fantasy.
Well,
they're just kind of the basic.
Kind of, but one thing they do have 4-up save minimum. That it is sort of interesting. They're almost more like the Solar Aux or something. There isn't really an Empire like an Imperial Guard in that. But you're also kind of right. I think that I enjoy the choice of making the human army 4-up armor like at its worst. So yeah, they're not exactly my playstyle either. While they are not that tough. They're kind of tough. They're in the middle there.
I mean, their tanks their war machines are pretty solid. So
exactly,
if those steam tanks keep that 2-up save, that's going to be.
I know. I'm very curious about that. I think they probably will. We'll see. Okay. They go into a little bit of the origin of these. You talked about Unberg.
Unbear, yeah. So the cults Unberigan, I don't know if this is new lore or old lore, but the Unberigan tribe was Sigmar's tribe when he was human in fantasy. I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly certain that was the name of his tribe. Because he used to be like a Viking essentially.
Right.
Before he became a god. So
Yeah. Which is kind of
at least I think so. If someone correct me if I'm
so
wrong, I'm
someone
pretty
in
sure that's
chat's gonna know this.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so they talk a little bit about this. This is all lore we've read before. That especially this army is less than a year old. So
Yeah.
we've been inundated with this for a little while now. Lots of cool artwork. Very nice, very nice. Okay, on to some rules. Oh, they talk about the cult again here. Okay, looks like they're so worth pointing out in the current cities book. Cities of Sigmar only have one battle trait, and it's this. It's orders. So they still have only one battle trait, and it's orders, which is great because it's sort of like 4 mini battle traits baked into one. Gone are the elf and dwarden specific orders.
Yes.
It's
But
yes,
there's a little bit of nuance there.
right. They're kind of
Maybe we should just go through them.
yeah, they're baked in here. So okay, we've got advanced formation. This one kind of already exists. Oh, most of these already exist in some form. This lets so first of all to clarify how these work. Each hero gets one of these. And we were wondering the pronunciation of this word, Officar.
Coffee car?
Officar, or is this like a
Yeah.
weird British, old timey British way of spelling officer?
Yeah, I don't know.
If anyone is weird and old timey and British in the chat, let us know. We have a few people that fit that description floating around.
I bet it's like some like Prussian thing or something.
Right. If anyone is weird and old timey and Prussian in the chat, please let us know. Okay, so it's now wholly within 12 inches. Previously, it was within 3. It's now wholly within 12 inches, and it looks like so far each of your heroes issues 1. That's pretty much what it is now in the current rule. There's a sub-faction, Hammerhall Akshi, that lets you issue 2, and then Talia can issue an extra 1. The Free Guild Griffin can issue an extra 1 once per game. Some of that, it looks like Talia, they've been shown character war scrolls. It looks like she has something similar to that still. So we're gonna see. Okay, so each hero cannot have issued 1 previously. They issue it wholly within 12. Advanced formation. You move it. You do it in the movement phase, and you move 3 inches.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Currently, what this is it adds 3 inches to movement. I think that's how the vast majority of people playing this army, especially in turns like turn 1 and etc., are going to use it. But it's worth pointing out that because it's actually just a 3-inch move that happens later or whenever, it has a lot of little interesting, cute counterplay. For example, I move my cavalry within 3 of you. You redeploy 6.
You move up 3 more
I
inches.
move 3 more inches.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one's kind of that. Honestly, that component of this one makes it a little interesting to me right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't think it's maybe the on its face seems maybe the least interesting, but I could definitely see it being used.
The nice thing about this one, this is sort of like the equivalent of low tide, I think, as it's called in Deepkin, which is it's very handy in turn 1 and turn 5. And that's currently that's how it works in the game. In the first turn of the game, this is pretty unless you have range with a shooting unit, basically everything in your army is getting the extra 3 inches. So your whole army just moves up 3 more inches. And in that case, you won't be you won't be using the cute little 3-inch thing. But the cute 3-inch thing is very interesting to me. I'm kind of wondering in chat if people are how people are feeling. And I will say this: we have a poll, as we always have, and the poll is which one of these looks most exciting to you. And this one is actually winning currently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think this one has a lot of interesting play. Because it's not just the redeploy that could be cute and interesting. It's also moving something like, and then moving something else out of your way, and then moving again. There's like a
Yeah.
number of. It kind of lets you have a little bit of buffer with like weird movement things where you're not
Yeah.
in the middle of. Let's say you're playing competitive, you're playing in a GT, and you don't want to be like, oh, can I go back and move this guy first? Now you can kind of maybe move after.
Issue an order.
Yeah, just get yourself out of it that way.
Yeah, and this is the human-centric one, right? This is the one that's
Yeah.
if you target a human, you can use it on another unit.
Yeah. So, which is amazing actually, because keep in mind the way Sigmar armies tend to work. You know, for me, when I was playing cities, I had, I think the lists we were building had either 5 or 6 heroes anyway, and then you don't have that many units, so you're going to be able to move. You know, if you're playing all humans, which is, to be honest with you, here at the Hobby Club, all we have. If you are playing all humans and you put this on 2 heroes, or 2 heroes use this, then you're going to move 4 units. That's probably all you care about.
And also I want to point out that it says you target a human unit. The second unit you move doesn't have to be a human unit.
Oh,
unless
you're right.
They could FAQ that, but currently it's basically just you move an extra unit for free if you choose a human.
Could be an elf or a dwarden.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, speaking of elves, strike them down. Soldiers are ordered to cut down the enemy post haste. In this one, +1 attacks for the rest of the turn. Pretty simple. You have to actually really look at War Scrolls sheets with this one, and you start to get a picture of how this army could probably be quite brutal in mass and with the right buffs. Right away, Steel Helms have 2 attacks already, so they're going to go up to 3 attacks. That's how many attacks Witch Elves have. So, at least in 3rd edition, I'm pretty sure in 4th edition they'll also have 3 attacks. But there's kind of nothing to not like about this one. If you're an elf,
speaking of elves, right? Yeah,
right. Speaking of elves,
getting that +1 to hit roll, +1 to hit and plus an additional attack. That's pretty solid.
And elves hit on 3, by the way. So you're hitting on 2 with an additional attack. Yeah, I think this is gonna make elves interesting, which they already are in cities. Quite honestly, the Darkling Covens, the Dark Elves, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, hard to not like this one. Okay, these next 2 also. By the way, these are all great. And I will say this, in the current book, they're not all great. They're all okay, and a couple of them are like very useful in the right circumstance. Okay, suppressing fire. This is not associated with either humans, dwarves, or elves. This is the one that isn't. And to sum it up, essentially, after you shoot, each time the target uses a shoot ability. Actually, Megan had a question on this earlier when we were going through it. If all of its attacks targeted the same enemy unit, after that ability has been resolved, roll a dice. One thing we don't know about yet, and this might be a core rules question, or Cire, maybe you know the answer to this, or maybe somebody in chat. There are not a lot of units in the game that have more than one shooting weapon, but there are some. And while we have not seen a steam tank yet, the steam tank model itself has 2 guns on it. So when it says uses a shoot ability this phase, is the shoot ability 1 gun, or is it all of its guns? I think it's all of its guns.
Good question.
Yeah,
I would imagine it's all the guns, because I think you resolve them all at once.
Yeah, I think so too. But anyway, a core rule question that we may not know the answer to yet. And then it's pretty much however many models you kill, you roll a die, and if you have that number, let's say you kill 4 models, you roll a die. On a 4 or lower, that unit has strike last for the rest of the turn.
Yep, solid.
It's solid.
Strike last is always good. Yeah,
it's solid. This army has a couple other cute tricks with strike first, strike last. So even so far that we've seen. So I think in the right place, against the right army, you could maybe kill like a unit that's kind of killy, but
Hmm.
not too durable. Something like witch elves again, or um, even maybe like some stormcast with 2 wounds. Like if you can get 3 of them, you give yourself a
Yeah.
chance. It is for sure, and it's currently like this too. It's currently the order that is like you do an order and it might not work.
Yeah.
I guess it should be because it's requiring the psychology of the enemy, right? Like,
Hi, Joplin.
yeah, Joplin's joined us here. Um, okay. Anyway, we think about some of the shooting units out there in the army: steam tanks, fusiliers. Um, the other thing about this ability, and maybe for me why it might be the least interesting, it's gonna be fine to put on a lot of units, but let's say you've got a unit of Fusiliers sitting on an objective, and you're like, okay, I want to have them suppressing fire. Um, Great, but this next one might be the better option, if I'm honest. um,
Hmm.
so we'll see. The other thing to consider is you have this weird chain of events that you want to do with this ability, where you want to shoot, kill some things, not kill too many things. Although I guess you don't really care, and then queue up a combat with them as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
Right.
like uh situationally quite powerful,
Yeah.
but honestly, even I don't know, just the way with, um you're already kind of disincentivized from uh charging multiple units and then like trying to you don't want to be able to you can't rely on this to make it so that you're setting up, 2 charges in a turn without getting clapped
Right.
back first.
Right. The only thing is that you'll know during the charge phase if they have
Yeah.
strike last or not. Um, but then keep this in mind: you'll have gotten in the movement phase close enough to them to charge them,
So,
and
exactly.
and there's a new counter charge that everyone has access to. So
Exactly. So it's
so
like,
so I move my Cavaliers next to your Witch Elves. I shoot your Witch Elves and don't do that well,
yeah.
and don't give them strike last. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to charge Witch Elves. Too bad, because Witch Elves are charging you now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So it's
So
like,
yeah, you
it's a
have
risky. It's
yeah. This one
risky.
this one is risky, and it's like that currently in the current edition too. It's like I've pulled it off. I've played maybe 8 games with this army, and
Mhm.
I felt like I pulled it off kind of in a juicy way one time. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's interesting, but um, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, that said, I think that some of the units that this is going to be queued on, like we'll see how good a steam tank is in combat. Currently, it's kind of good in combat.
Yeah.
So, like a steam tank, something tough and durable, just rolling up, suppressing it, using suppressing fire to suppress its own target, and then charging might be actually
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Could be interesting, especially with
Uh,
that 2 save, man.
yeah, exactly. And like the steam tank commander could do all of this on his own.
Yeah.
Could be
It's a
interesting.
one-man army.
One man, yeah. Okay, hold the line. This is the last one. This one's good. This is the Dwarden specific one. You basically give your own unit strike last and award a 4 up.
5 up.
5 up. Sorry.
Yeah.
Previously, cities. This one was a dwarf only one, a Dwarden only one, and I think it did give a ward. But I think it did the same thing: strike last and
Yeah.
ward of 5. See, I feel like this is the one I'm most likely to put on my Fusiliers sitting in the back.
Oh, interesting. Because I was gonna say I feel like I only would do this on a Dwarden unit. It feels. I mean, I guess if you know you're gonna get charged, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But like, I'm thinking about a block of dwarves, throwing them up somewhere, and then just saying, "All right, well, you can try and get through me, but good luck."
I mean, right. Because Dwar didn't also get mice would your mice would have hit them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I could also see large blobs of steel helms. This is juicy on.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that's a 4-up unit can go to 3-up with an all-out defense, and now also has a 5-up ward. They have their own way to get a 5-up ward though. As we're gonna look, they did show their war scroll here. We're gonna look at that in a second. They have their own way to get it, but I don't know, kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, I think it depends. It's also worth pointing out that it doesn't say that a unit can only be ordered one time. So, while Hero can only issue an order, you could tell your Fusiliers or your steam tank to hold the line, and you could tell them to suppressing fire.
I thought there was a core rule that said that. I think it can only
Oh,
be under ability once at a.
it's a core rule. Okay, you're
I
right.
don't know if it's a
That
core
does
rule.
sound
Sorry, I might be misremembering. I'm pretty sure you can
no.
only be under the effect of something one at a
That
time.
does sound kind of familiar. If anyone in chat remembers that, let us know. That does sound sort of familiar, though. Actually, Saray, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, there they are. The current winner, advanced in formation, kind of interesting. But I'll be honest, the vote is fairly split here. Hold the line being the least interesting. I actually think hold the line is pretty good.
I think it's good. I
People
mean,
don't.
yeah, you're right. People they don't play defensively, you know.
They don't play. Yeah, people need to. You guys need to play more defensively. Okay. Okay. Mirror is just
Thank you,
checking
Maya.
your lore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. These all look good to me, but I do think hold the line looks good. There's gonna be a lot of places where you kind of just don't like because the thing about free guild steel helms, let's say you've got 20 of them, and let's say you're getting hit by something kind of deadly like Varangard.
Oh yeah.
Deadly, but not out of control deadly, right? Like out of control deadly is like witch elves souped up, and again, that's third ed. I'm thinking here because we haven't seen any
Yeah.
stats like that. But like Vanguard are deadly, but not like bonkers deadly. You don't really care, you know, and they're tough. So like 3 Vanguard going to 20 Steel Helm, or maybe even 6. You're like, listen, I'm not going to do anything to the Vanguard, but what
Right.
I need to do is live
Hmm.
because I'm staring down, you know, these guys moving somewhere else next. They don't have fallback of charge or whatever. So I need to live. So you don't really care about fighting last, right?
Yeah.
You're like I don't care about fighting at all. I'm taking this hit and that's that. Even if like the slaves player would fight somewhere else and take the 3 wounds you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So you just pop this and you say, cool, I'm fighting last, but I'm losing a third less of my dudes. Like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's also good if you're like, oh well, you're only charging one place, so
Yeah. In that
it's
case,
kind of
and
a
you
no-brainer.
often can see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
All right. This is the area that I have not gotten to yet. So
Okay, battle formations. We've been seeing one battle formation per army. Today's
okay.
battle formation: Fortress City Defenders. Um, uh, Cities of Sigmar units start with the fortified that have the fortified position ability. Start in fortified position. They do show us what that means here in a second. And in addition, in Battle Round 1, -1 to wound rolls for attacks that target Cities of Sigmar units that are wholly within friendly territory. So,
That's yeah. You
straight,
won't get. I mean, alpha striking is not really a major thing in Age of Sigmar, but
it's not.
good to have.
It's not. But this helps defend against anyone trying to do anything cute like that.
Yeah.
And we know that shooting ranges are going down. But we've also seen two armies already that have a bonkers amount of deep striking, and that's both Skaven and Stormcast.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So who knows? Okay. They then show off a spell. This spell kind of already exists. They've changed the name. It's actually currently the worst spell in their lore, but it looks better now because currently what it does is D3 mortals to 1 unit, And then every city unit it crosses over, it gives them a leadership of 10, which is like, okay. Leadership, morale being gone, battle shock. Casting value of 7. Range of 12 inches. Wholly within 12 inches. 3d6 charges.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not bad. Keep in mind, until the end of your next turn, keep in mind, again, got to remember, we're in a world where every body can can charge in their opponent's turn now.
Yeah.
So
36 counter charge.
So, yep. So, I mean, like, here's the tech right away. Here's the tech, right? You're putting your cavalry in the back. You're putting your steel helms in the front. And you're giving your steel helms their ward or whatever they're doing. You're giving your cavalry +1 attack. And then in your opponent's turn, when they charge your steel helms, you're charging them with cavalry.
Yeah.
And we don't know if there's fight first from the marshal because we haven't seen his war scroll yet. We see it in Spearhead, but not this. But there's that's the current tech is you can, with the free go marshal, you can countercharge and fight first your opponent with cavalry, which is pretty amazing.
Right.
3d6 kind of helps a lot with that. They do currently have a 3d6 charge spell. It's just not this one. It's kind of interesting.
All right. Now, I again didn't scroll down to see this, but I'm starting to see a trend here.
What's that?
With these 4-up monster saves.
Right. We were talking about this in Discord. Liberty Fires actually brought this up in Discord. There seems to be this thing happening. I don't know if you guys have noticed at home. There seems to be this thing happening where, let's say it seems like you should have 3-up armor.
You don't.
The second you jump on a monster, you go down to 4-up. And it kind of makes sense, right? Like, let's look at a picture of Talia and Infernadine, her buddy. There's one up here. There they are. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, oops, wrong window. Here we go. Oh my god, what a mess. Right, there she is.
I think the point is, are we trying to see them lean away from beat stick monsters?
Yeah, like.
What do you think?
I mean, and keep in mind there isn't even there's all defense, but there isn't finest hour. You can't save stack. I mean, people used to save stack finest hour and all defense on their 3-up monsters to get a 1-up, right? Yeah, I don't know. But yes.
I mean, you keep saying that Rend is going down across the board.
Not seeing it.
Not
seeing it.
Not really. I mean, maybe not really.
Not seeing it. Okay.
This is like when they talked about there's less rerolls in 10th edition 40k.
I know.
Used to be just
they're
as
lying.
Much, more, actually.
They're teaching us to lie. Okay.
All right. What does she do?
Her attacks have been toned down, I think. Infernadine, 3 attacks, hit on 3, wound on 2, 2 damage, or Ren 2, 3 damage. Actually kind of insane. Ren 3 against monsters. And then the Stinger, 2 attacks, 4, 2, 3 Ren, D3 plus 3 damage. Both obviously have the companion rule. You can see, Steven pointed this out to me. This is kind of handy. I wasn't making the connection for whatever reason about the skull showing that it's a battle damage.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
It also says battle damaged.
Okay. It says it in the thing, but when you see the melee weapons, it's nice to see that skull because it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay, so she does an off-a-car ability. She does an additional, when she issues one, an additional unit wholly within 12 of its turn can also get that ability. I think that's probably often going to be her.
Yeah, fair.
So look at the stat.
Well, no, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought Afakar's orders couldn't affect heroes.
I think they can.
Some of them could not. Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of the previous the
Stormcasting
or the Stormcasting we were looking at.
Yeah, the Stormcast haven't figured out this.
So
Haven't figured
so
this
many
out.
humans are moving back and forth, dude,
I know.
around her.
I know.
Every-
So,
like parade formations.
um, but all like duh, +1 attack, good, right? But
Yeah.
like when you look at her stat line and envision this all with +1 attack, quite good.
Ugh.
Yeah. You think about her countercharging. You think about her charging 3d6 inches. This is a tech we know that this faction can do at the start of 4th. 3d6 charge. We fight first against the right target
Mhm.
if suppressing fire happened. So yeah, I think This is why this is a Brett army. I think you can set up some really awesome synergies. Okay,
Well,
now
wait, sorry. That an additional attack, it wouldn't work on the companion, right?
so what? That's a good question. What is the companion?
I'm pretty sure companion. I might be again. We should probably double check this, but I think companion means they don't get those benefits.
Okay,
Um, I
we
don't think so.
we can figure this out real fast right now, all together,
Everyone,
because
let's learn together.
let's learn together. I'm gonna shrink this window a little bit here. So
All right. While you're doing that, I'm going to talk up her other stuff.
talk about her other stuff, please. Yes.
Yeah. So, she has a once per battle ability, lead from the front. So if this unit is in combat, pick up to 3 other friendly cities of Sigmar units wholly within 12 of this unit. The effect is for each target, you can return a number of slain models to that unit with a combined health characteristic of up to 3. Okay.
Once per battle, bring 3
Yeah.
models. Yeah, it's okay.
Not incredible.
It's currently it gives her 4 rally,
Yeah.
which is probably better because you can
Definitely better.
you can use it all game. I have to say I have to say I'm a little yeah, this is I would say significant downgrade. And to me, I don't exactly understand why this is once per battle. I think that this ability is totally valid. That said, it's in the combat phase, which makes it kind of nasty.
Yeah.
And yeah, Moriel is right. We just looked it up, and it's actually crazy. Sorry to interrupt myself and
Yeah.
this train of thought that we're having here, Cire. But he's correct. We just looked it up, and Companion literally goes out of its way to not affect the attacks characteristics of companions.
Yeah.
So
she
like
cannot improve her attack characteristic.
she cannot improve Infernodyne's attack characteristics.
Yeah, so no 3 D3 plus 3 stingers over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay, so here what makes this ability good is that it's in the combat phase, and again, there's some interesting things you could do with that. And I like that's a fixed number, which means you can bring back 3 steel helms, 1 cavalry. By the way, cavalry went up to 3 health. We're going to see that in a second.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm saying, like, would this have been so bad to make it so that you can do this, like,
in the hero phase every turn?
once a turn.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised by that. Excuse me. I'm not sure I'd want to see it in the combat phase every turn. I think that would be frustrating. But I think I'd prefer this if it was like hero phase.
Yeah.
Your hero phase. Here we go. Instead, it's a lot more flexible. Any combat phase, but once per turn.
Once per battle.
Once per battle. 3 other units, like bringing back 3 steel helms, one unit from that like command corps. Maybe that they still have 3 wounds, and 1 cavalry. That feels like not amazing.
Yeah.
Paralyzed.
I feel like being able to do it, bring back up to 3 health characteristic every turn on 1 unit per turn would have maybe been more useful.
Yeah. And Polly actually brings up a good question. And Polly, this is something I was wondering over the weekend, maybe one of the mornings. I'll help you read, Polly. No problem. We were chatting about this in Discord. He asked if we know about the timings for abilities in a phase. That may have been covered like very early on, but you're not wrong. Gone is beginning of and end of,
Yeah.
and I think
Just in the phase.
in the phase. I think it has something to do with like an alternating thing at the start, but I don't remember exactly. We'll have to go back and check that. Yeah, like could you just bring these guys back at the end? But I don't think so. Okay. Here's
we didn't talk about paralyzing venom.
Right. So this is her strike last, maybe.
Yeah.
You have to, she has this ability currently as well.
Yeah.
This is her monstrous rampage, actually. 3 up, strike last to a monster that charged you. Particularly situational. However, again, keep in mind, countercharge. You might be getting charged by a monster in your turn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like it. Here's the big thing this will do. That what I just said, it will make somebody think twice about doing that. I charge Talia into a unit. I charge some other units around. You think I'm going to charge my monster into Talia. You might not do it. Because if you're getting fought last, and now you're going to have to get hit by Talia and maybe that other unit nearby, it becomes less exciting. For sure. Yeah.
Less juicy.
It's
kind of spoils.
It's one of those abilities where you look at it and you go, "Uh-oh, this only happens on a 3-up. It's not that good." But your opponent is going to be going, "Oh, it happens on a 3-up. That's not good for me, right?" So like the threat might be all you need here. Yeah, Polly, I think it is something at the beginning of the phase. I can research it and have an answer in tomorrow's show. Okay. Liam says, the active player uses all their own abilities and the opposing player uses all theirs. Okay. Thank you, Liam, actually. She's got a ward of 6.
Yeah.
She's got that currently. Yeah, she looks good.
Fusel-Major.
Fusel-Major. Okay. Before we look at this guy's war scroll, let's just say that this guy, along with the Ironweld Great Cannon, are the official, I think, most Sigmar players, not even hardcore competitive Sigmar players, of which almost don't exist as a concept, but competitive Sigmar players would say that this guy and the Ironweld Great Cannon were the major disappointments of the first book. Okay. And I don't think that what we get here is a colossal turnaround, but it is significantly better, that's for sure. Okay. His sniper gun is pretty cute. Rend 1, +1 rend against heroes, auto wound on 6s, 3 attacks, 2 damage. The range is pretty intense for a game where we're figuring out that we are losing range on a lot of things.
Yeah.
In combat, we finally get to see an ogre. Steven and I were wondering this the other day. We were wondering. We saw in this article actually we looked at here, where they showed us what things hit on. We now get to see what an ogre hits and wounds on, and it's like a monster, which makes sense with good rend and good damage. I think this is probably something we expect. If you're gonna ask me what a glutton stats would be, my guess is going to be maybe 3 attacks, 4, 2, rend 1, 2 damage.
Yeah. I think the hitting on 4 makes sense, right? They're not exactly agile.
They're not.
But wounding at 2 is because they're super strong. So
yeah. Okay. Fine stats. 8 wounds, 3-up save. Here, the ogre is very armored, as you can see. And he's has a shield. That is huge. I think he's earned his 3-up save.
Hey, I have a quick question. They don't have a generic version of this unit, do they?
No.
Man, they should probably get on top of that.
Yeah, it might be too late, but yeah, they should.
They should probably get on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, it should have just been the ogre with like 2 Fusiliers on top.
Yeah, or just 2-3 more ogres.
Oh, wait. An ogre with more ogres? Oh, you mean the ogre with no...
Yeah, with no pole. sticking
Yeah,
out of his
I kind of agree, right? Just like have the ogre, kind of
yeah
cool,
with that awesome shield.
like a melee unit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, he's a marker light. This is definitely Brett's army now, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah. If he uh, does he have to? He doesn't even have to hit.
Oh yeah, you're right. He just chooses.
Yeah. So whatever he shoots at, all cities of Sigmar shooting attacks get +1 to hit against that target.
That's quite solid.
There's no range. There's no limit. It's really freaking good.
All
Um,
right,
I
3
think
cannons. Here we go.
yeah, if you because these are things that humans hit on 4.
Yeah,
So just right out of the gate, you have this guy and this guy hits on 3. So you've got, and again, you don't even need to hit. It's wild actually. Significantly better. Uh, this thing is actually gonna go. I think like be off the shelves for GW. They're gonna empty out their huge stock of these guys in the coming
yeah.
weeks. Yeah. We also get to see what fortified position does, and I think it's hard to say if it's better or worse. I think probably worse, but it's still good. Um, a unit that has not moved,
Yep.
-1 rend from incoming weapons. Oh, and it's not just shooting.
Yep.
Okay, well, so that is better because currently what it is when you shoot a unit that's fortified, it's only shooting. They're unrendable, which for most of cities means 4 up.
Yep. This is an improvement.
This is an improvement because now when you plow into Fusiliers that are fortified, your rend's going to be 1 worse in combat as well. So with 4 up save and maybe a 5 up board from hold the line, they're like probably going to hold the line. Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's you were saying it's not a super tough army, and you're kind of right, but I think it's maybe the toughest army we've seen so far.
Yeah, maybe. Things are changing here.
Things are changing. It might be the toughest army we've had previewed to date. We haven't seen like what army would be really tough. I think it's probably between these guys and Nighthaunt right now, just because they have a 4 up unrendable.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what Maggot can come out. Like what is the new tough? What is the new tough guy? What does that look like now?
This army has also lost like its 4 up rally, so it's lost its scary recursion. But it's full of banners and musicians, which give a +1 die on rally. That's not a lot, but it's a little bit better. So yeah, I don't know. This guy got a lot better, I think.
Oh yeah. All right, let's talk Cavaliers.
Yes. Okay. Right out of the gate, +1 wound, health.
Oh yeah. Yes,
were,
health. No, they don't call it wounds anymore, right?
They were 2 health. I'll be honest with you. It makes sense. It's a horse plus a human. But it felt quick. I've played them in a few games. They run in, they hit kind of hard. Something else goes into them and they disappear. Yes, the 3 up save is good, but I mean, sorry, you've even seen the right target against your knights, right? Like 3 up save, no ward, Ren 2. Like you're picking knights up pretty quick.
All I'm getting from this is that Chaos Knights are going to be 4 health now.
I wonder. I think that'd be fair. We'll see though. We have seen health go up. Honestly, we've seen a lot of things that are in the like 2 to 4 range go up by 1. Kroxigors went from 5 to 6, I think. Or 4 to 5. Correct me if I'm wrong. Peeps at home. Did trolls go up by 1? I forget.
Oh, I didn't check trolls yet.
Yeah, I think trolls might have gone up by 1. Maybe not. Okay. Cavalier weapon. Steven was suspecting this would be the case, that we'd see on a Cavalier weapon, and he's right. Charge damage, +1 on the charge. Makes sense. We've seen this in most of the edition. Now, keep in mind, They have gotten worse in one significant way, which is currently they're 3s to hit and 3s to wound.
They are humans.
They are
That's what they
humans.
said. We've got to consult our little chart now.
Yeah, we've got to consult the chart. Checks
Yeah,
out. Not
checks
lying.
out.
Yeah. But we were wondering about that. We were wondering, well, are we still going to get like these are the elite human soldiery? And I think the way they're probably going to just be showing this from here on out is probably number of attacks.
Yeah. Just more attacks.
More attacks, better rend, maybe more everything but these two stats, which is I got to say pretty clever. And actually, Cavaliers
or weird abilities like +1 damage.
Right, +1 damage on the charge. And since I have the book right here, I'm suddenly insanely curious if Cavaliers are 2 attacks currently. Keeping in mind that anyone can be +1 attack, so these guys can easily be 4 attacks on the charge. Free good Cavaliers, nope, they're 3 attacks.
Okay, so.
Yeah. So 4 attacks, pretty easily. Okay.
2 damage potentially, though.
2 damage potentially on the charge. Okay, devastating charge. How do you like this ability, Cire? This is like a you.
See, I've not read it yet. So if this unit charged this phase, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch of it to be the target. Roll a dice for each model in this unit that is in combat for each floor to inflict 1 mortal damage. And it's fine.
It's okay.
You might do 2 or 3 mortal damage.
Again, what's cute about it is that countercharge. So you can countercharge. Everybody can countercharge. So these guys can queue up, get a little mortals on the way in, and then fight. What will be interesting is to see if it's possible for them to. What'll be interesting to see if it's possible for them to get any kind of fight first. Now, one thing we need to check. We gotta check this, guys. Is we still have no, we don't have Unleash Heck anymore, right? Or it changed? Is there like an Overwatch?
I believe there is.
This is like weeks ago. This is like very early on they showed this. But it doesn't matter because the suppressing fire is shooting phase only. But it's any shooting phase, but that... Oh, no, isn't there like a return fire?
This is like this is many articles back.
This is many articles back. Can somebody, if somebody knows, let us know. Or Cire, if you're going to research it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious because it does say any shooting phase. So the question kind of is, I thought there was some kind of like you shoot me, I shoot back at you type thing. I know that cities have that currently, and that's not what I'm thinking of. I thought they previewed some kind of shooting thing. But the Cavaliers look good. I think the big pickup here is, I know people are going to look at the hit and wound roll. Yeah, the rend is also better in the charge. That is fair. I know people, like we said, rends are going down. So here's our first evidence of that.
Rend is going down sometimes, maybe.
Sometimes, maybe. Honestly, picking up the health is big, in my opinion. They've retained their 3-up save. It's easier to give them +1 attack. There is a way to do that in the current book, but it's a little bit harder. And I think already we know you'll be able to hit on 3 pretty easily. That's not in question. Getting a +1 to wound is going to be interesting. I imagine many armies will have at least one way to do this. So can you get these guys to 4 attacks, 3, rend 1, 2 damage on the charge? My guess is going to be yes, but we shall see. And more importantly, is what I'm kind of curious about is, can you get these guys fighting first in your opponent's phase, combat phase?
Yeah.
I forget what a standard bearer also does. I know a musician helps with rally. There's some kind of Overwatch Morio, but I don't remember if it stayed the same or not. I thought there was some kind of weird thing you could do in the shooting phase now. Like, almost not dissimilar to what's in 40k, but it's not just like you move, I shoot you. It's like
Yeah, it's a reaction,
I
right?
thought
Is
there
what
was
it
like
was.
a reaction. Yeah, you can shoot with a -1
Actually,
during your opponent's shooting phase or on closest unit. Okay,
I was. Yeah, I think I just found it. It took me a long
that's
time.
so no, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. You can suppress fire during
Yeah,
your
suppress.
opponent's turn, and then you can countercharge in here. This army is set up for these reactive CP usage.
Yeah, they're the tactics buffing army, right? They're like they can be quite powerful when if you play your cards right, I guess.
I think so. I also might use the word uh, disruptive. They can be very disruptive. Like actually, these guys even on the charge, hitting on 4, wounding on 4, Ren 1, 2 damage on the charge, 3 attacks each. You might get them up to 4. Again, we've talked about how you could buff them. But let's say you just have 5 of them. That's still not that much damage. But
No.
with with 2 or 3 mortals on the way in, and then them fighting first, like your unit might not get wiped out depending on what it is. But I feel like they're going to be kind of interesting to just like, oh, I thought I was going in with, I thought I was going in with 20 gut rippers. And actually, turns out, here it's my turn to fight. I'm actually fighting with 8 now because 12 have died. So that's kind of, I don't know that they're going to be like, I charge in and get wiped out. Oh, that was crap. It's going to be kind of like, my plans are less effective now. Okay, here we go.
These are sorry, I changed to the. You're on still helms now, right?
Yeah, steel helms, rank and file. Okay, they're down to 1 ability. They lost their passing around alt attack and alt defense, which I gotta say a little bit of a bummer. I thought that ability wasn't that strong. Now, when they hold an objective, they kind of have this ability already. On a 3, you can make a roll once per turn in your movement phase. On a 3-up, they consecrate the objective and therefore have a ward of 5. Currently, it's a ward of 6, so it is better in that regard. So pretty good. I mean, prevents them from needing to maybe have held the line used on them, but you don't have to use hold the line until a combat phase anyway. So you'll know if you need to use this or not. You'll know if you need to use hold the line on these guys. And if you don't need to use hold the line, you give them +1 attack. It's not bad. I think we're gonna need to see the points on these guys, but in the land currently, in the world currently, all models on the objective. Does it say that like all the models have to be on the objective? You have to contesting objective that you control, and not contested by any enemy models or will die. So that means you're going to move on to an empty objective turn 1 and do this. Interesting. Objectives are smaller now, also little bit of a factor. Yeah, I don't know. They look cool. We'll see what happens. Second sentence of
Yeah,
effect.
he's right. Yeah,
While
while each model in a friendly cities of Sigmar human unit is contesting a consecrated objective, that unit has a ward of 5 up.
That's interesting. That means units of 20 might not be amazing.
Yeah. That's an interesting. So you have to have them all on the objective.
Yeah, and it's a much smaller objective.
Yeah, interesting.
I think maybe you could pack 20 on it. They're on 25 mils.
Yeah, you're gonna be in a weird. You're suddenly not. You're not doing like blocking or anything like that, right? You're just crowded on.
Well, I mean, you're blocking the objective, right? Like you could. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be honest with you, this unit has never been about its offensive output. You can get it there in the current book, but you got to go through a lot of loops. You got to auto attack. You got to you can't auto defense. You got auto attack. You got to get their Alchemite Warforger thing going. You got to do a lot to get them there currently. But it looks like they're easier to turn into a tar pit.
Yeah.
Again, why I wish Talia's returning models was all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's what I meant, Paul. Is like, yeah, it makes it so that you can't screen out parts of the board, right? It's like you have to go all in on this objective if you want to
yeah.
consecrate it and
Now,
get the effects,
now I will say
which
this.
I think kind of limits their utility. I don't know. I
Okay.
think it kind of limits their utility.
Yeah. Well, okay. Keep in mind that I think their ultimate purpose is going to be what we're talking about. It's going to be piling on an objective and sitting there, trying to screen it out, getting the 5 up ward. Um, you have for toe and cute stuff. You're probably going to be using Will to Core. That's my
Mhm.
guess. Um, these guys also, I know that the musician only lets you roll 7 dice for rally instead of 6.
Mhm.
It's fine. It means you're probably more likely to get 3 and maybe more likely to get more likely to get 4 back. But I mean, it's fair to say that between rally and Talia's ability, once per game, um, you can keep humans running back into the squad. Like you can keep this around for a while. I think.
Yeah.
Um, People are going to need dedicated murdering units. Things like Chosen, things like Draconith Guard. Things are going to need to. You can't just put what you would put into 10 skinks into these guys. Like you're going to have to actually deal with them, and I think they're probably going to be cheap. They're 10 points per model currently. It's 100 points for 10. If that price holds, that's pretty wild to have 4 units. We have 40. To have 4 units of these guys all over the board trying to just like move on to objectives and sit there,
Yeah.
that's obnoxious. And
Yeah. I mean, I I'm wondering, like, what are your hammer? Well, what are your damage dealing units for this army? Is what I'm trying to figure out now.
well, that's a good question. Actually, Saray brings up kind of a bigger point, which is like, what is anyone's damage dealing units so far?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Like it's gone down a bit. What have we seen that looks really slappy and nasty? I mean, we know Squig Herds took a huge hit. Um,
Hmm.
I mean Talia, you got Talia. Your Cavaliers are kind of mid range, I think.
The Night Haunt looked okay. They had some
Yeah,
stuff that looked
yeah,
killy enough.
yeah. Nighthaunt probably might maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a good question. Oh, even Rat Ogres didn't look amazing. Although you
No.
can get a Rat Ogre up to 7 attacks, which is pretty
Yeah.
wild. Um, so we'll see. Okay. Then I've actually been enjoying these words from the studio. They Some of it is they kind of talk and do their all around what they're thinking. But they do make a point here, which is that this army is actually pretty decent at everything. It's got
Hmm.
movement shenanigans, even without elves. It's got honestly probably some of the best shooting in the game. We'll find out tomorrow how that stacks up
Hmm.
to KO. Um, you're kind of right, Saray. I don't know yet what's going to be combat like super nasty
Yeah.
because currently it's Talia, Cavaliers, and then the Frigo Marshal and Griffin. We haven't seen him.
We didn't see the Griffin, but
He's
Talia's not nearly as
she's okay.
killy as.
She's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. And the Cavaliers are also okay. It doesn't. I'm not sure how you're going to get their rend up, their rend 1. But again, there's supposed to be less save stacking, so maybe that's
Hmm.
enough. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Very curious.
Okay. They also go on to say you're you're a little more incentivized now, I do believe, to add Dwarden or elves into your humans or to kind of mix and match. Um,
Are they standing on lava?
oh,
It's probably gonna get a little hot. Maybe not.
no, this is this is like his ability. He has like this ability that like, and I think this is like how they're showing it, which is like,
Oh, I see.
yeah,
I see.
yeah. Um, yeah, and I agree with Liam. He says, not a fan of subfactions that have a rule that lasts 1 turn.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, Liam, I could totally see all 4 subfactions having a rule that lasts 1 turn.
Yeah.
Totally could see that.
Yeah.
This book already, Well, that's not entirely true. I was gonna say, it's not. Some factions are already in Sigmar often not that big of a deal until they are, like in some books. But I think we're kind of seeing some factions are like not huge deals. I don't know. It's a good call out. Um, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to go too much into Spearhead Saray unless you're feeling compelled.
No, we can just take a quick
We
look at it.
yeah, we do get the Free Guild Cavalier stat lines, and as mentioned, we know that stat lines are staying the same. So there he is. That's pretty similar to what he is right now.
Oh, so wait, we do know that.
So stat lines are, but not
Okay,
not
not
abilities.
abilities. Okay, gotcha.
I feel like I'll be honest. If he keeps an ability similar to Decisive Commander, um, then he's kind of awesome. It's hard to make anything of this because it's Spearhead. It's wildly different than what he does currently in third. So what you have to assume moving on to full fourth ed Sigmar is he'll have an ability that's kind of either like this or kind of like what he's got currently, maybe a combination of the two. Hard to know.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, are they is the Spearhead version just like a lighter version, or maybe a stronger version than it'll end up being in the big game? Because I feel like his role shouldn't change that much, right?
His role here is very weird because he is not helping the cavalry at all. Now,
It's true.
that said, there could be something on the cavalry spearhead sheet that says if this guy charged, if it could be reverse of like if a free guild marshal fought, these guys get the fight, or if the cavalry are within X range of a free guild marshal, they have fight first or something. We don't know. A lot of people are when we look at units and we make guesses about things. There's kind of two camps. There's the camp that's like, okay, let's just do it because it's fun. I think I'm mostly in that camp. And then there's the camp that says, just shut up. We don't know and wait. I know Brad is solidly in the shut up and wait camp. And so we talk about this. But I have to say, with this guy's sheet, I think that my problem with the shut up and wait camp is that lots of times you can look and you can make inferences. And I think you can get up to like 75%, 90%, right? This guy, though, I got to say, I've got no clue. I think the shut up and wait camp would probably be the camp I'd be in on this guy because I can't tell what's going on.
It feels so disconnected from his current role and what you feel like he should be with.
But at the same time, you see that they have these ways they want you to make steel helms tough in the full book. That's not going to be in Spearhead. So here it is. It's him.
Right. Exactly.
They mentioned below that steel helms are a recyclable unit, which we probably could have guessed. And we're guessing that Cavaliers and the Great Cannon is not. I'm sure the Great Cannon isn't.
I think it says right there.
No, they say that steel helms are. Yeah.
Single out the biggest threats. Gotcha.
Yeah, they say it's steel helms are. So I'm thinking Cavaliers, and I'm like I said, positive. I think we knew the Great Cannon wouldn't be. Weren't sure about Cavaliers, but now we know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna shut up and wait on this guy. But I will say I could certainly see these abilities, Matt, coming back, but it's hard to. He doesn't currently really have interaction. It doesn't seem like he's kind of currently set up with interaction for steel helms. He's supposed to kind of help cavalry, the free guild calv, right? So
yeah, you think he would be a cavalry buff piece.
Saray, thoughts?
Yes,
we did it. We did it.
We did.
What are your thoughts on cities? Let's go to
I mean, I feel like cool. Despite the kind of lack of killiness, that's kind of what they're their role is now. I feel like the role hasn't changed that much, right? They're still the same army of, it seems like, at least again in a vacuum. Um, I think that was, as was said before, I really would like to see the other battle traits. Um, I would
Uh,
say these are fine, but not particularly interesting. Um, I do really like.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I'm with Liam. I want to see the other sub factions, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Favorite's going to be the Fusel-Major and Ogre, though. That seems like enough of a glow up that I think people will maybe start playing him. Um,
Yeah,
it's like finally a good rules with a good model.
we have him, one cannon, 2 steam tanks, and 20 Fusiliers. I'm trying to wonder how many points that would be worth having him shoot at something and then having the rest of it shoot at that too. Sounds devastating.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of wish we would have seen some war machines. That's like a big part of their personality.
The tanks and the
We didn't see any of
Huracanum.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the tanks, the Celestial Huracanum, the even a Great Cannon we didn't see.
No.
Really would have liked to have seen some of that.
Now
But I guess we'll have to wait.
of course the Celestial Huracanum currently has a mortal wound shot.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing that go away. We've been seeing that change to something that needs a hit roll. So it is the case that the Fusel-Major could be helping the Huracanum. And the Huracanum also currently gets a bubble of +1 to hit. So who knows what that means for the Huracanum and other shooting units. But the Fusel-Major, if that trend we're seeing where here's my shooting attack that's like I just roll die, it does mortals, it doesn't actually have a hit roll. If that changes, then it could be the case that the Fusel-Major helps the Huracanum hit as well. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I have to say I'm excited for this army to get back on our stream, on our show. We haven't been playing it too much recently, as we've been adding to it and kind of waiting for 4th to come out to relearn it and use it properly. But I am excited. We have a fairly big collection that both Meg, I, and also, sorry, not both, but Cire have contributed to painting to. So it's kind of an army. It's the army we really started when we started our channel. So
Yeah.
it's kind of exciting in that way. And we premiered this army when we premiered games, along with the Slaves to Darkness. So
Sure.
I'm excited to see it get back on the tabletop. I don't really have plans to add dwarves or elves to it.
I mean, that's like half of the stuff, though. They want you to.
They do want you to, but no.
I'm gonna say, okay, I have to say this every time we talk about Cities of Sigmar. They should have made
I know
the Fusels and Steel Helm units. It should have been a mix of humans, elves, and dwarfs. Should have been all of them. Shouldn't have just been humans.
Yeah, I guess now we see why they didn't, though, because we've got these stat lines, right? Like you can't put an elf in there because then he hits on 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
nah, they're like weak city elves, though. Come on.
Weak city elves.
Have
you seen the Lumineth? Have you seen the Lumineth?
No, there's cities of Sigmar. There's not good water in the cities of Sigmar.
They've been eating Doritos and stuff.
Yeah, there's
like
Doritos and McDonald's in cities of Sigmar, so they can't hit as well.
Awesome. I think we did it, Cire.
Yeah, we did it.
Tomorrow, KO. This is an army you're starting. So
haven't built any yet.
But you've acquired the models, and as we know in this hobby, that's 50% of the game. So you are now a KO player, whether you've become a KO
nothing is finished.
Okay, awesome. We're gonna say bye to Cire and want to promote. Yeah, see you tomorrow, Cire. We're gonna one more time plug Meg's appearance tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific time on the Heroes Brush Hour, which is over there on Twitch. Please go support her, check her out, say hi. She will super appreciate seeing some familiar names in that chat. So we will thank you in advance. As far as our poll goes, it looks like Advanced Information has won. I think it looks exciting too. I think its movement shenanigans are always fun. That's it. We want to give a big thanks to our mandrills as always. Folks, we'll be doing these shows for most of the weeks upcoming. We have to figure out Friday. Friday, I'll be out of town. It's not that Cire couldn't do the show. I think we can have him do it, but our central hub is kind of here, so we just have to figure that out. I will be going to Small Town Throwdown, which I'm excited about. And I think that about does it. So, as we like to say, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, and always be creating. Bye, folks.